help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, can say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America.
Good evening, America! How y'all doing? This is your friendly neighborhood bearded weirdo coming at you loud and proud as I always do. And on my face. How y'all doing? It is Tuesday, October 29th. It's a good day. It's a great day. Why? Because we're here and you're watching. We already made your day better just on that fact alone. And why? It's because on my left, I have got my best friend, my compadre, my brother, also my pastor. He is the one, the only, the Pastor Gary Podosek.
Five-time champion.
Five-time champion? Are you going to do the spin-a-rooney? Come on, give us a spin-a-rooney.
October 29th?
That's October. I meant August 29th. I'm sorry. Look, I can't get it right all the time. Anyway, and you heard the man behind the curtain. He is our own personal Wizard of Oz or Buddha, whichever you want to go with.
No,
no hair.
No.
What?
No. We don't talk about that. No Buddha.
I mean, I rub his belly. Get good luck.
And I'm bald.
And he's bald. Anyway,
Talk to y'all later.
Hi, everybody. Going to the pastor's office. Here we go. But no, you heard him. He is our producer and our longtime friend. He is Steve Cattell. How y'all doing, man?
It's been good.
Good. Very good.
Very good. Good to be
You
here.
know, I mean, you're in your first week of your new job.
I am indeed. It's good.
That is fantastic.
To be clear, I'm still bivocational. I didn't quit pastoring. I just want people to be aware. It's like
your other job.
Still the pastor.
Your
the other
job.
job.
Okay, his normal everyday 9 to what used to be like 7 to 9 in the evening, and it would damage his fingers. Now he'll just get carpal tunnel.
I got all my fingers.
Now I'll just get carpal tunnel. Doing the clickety clack.
Why people speak evil on me? Why?
I'm not speaking evil.
You just said I'm going to get carpal tunnel.
I'm joking. You ain't gonna get carpal tunnel.
That's right.
God, all we need, you bad feet and bad hands. What are you gonna do? Float?
We all float down here.
You know, and Steve and Steve.
Oh man,
Steve by the end of the week starts a new job or ends one job, and the following week will start a new one.
That's correct.
I'm not even going to call that one a job. That one's going to be a career path.
That one's going to be a career for me.
Yeah,
that's a career path.
He's now going to be able to be on my zombie apocalypse squad.
That's correct.
Yep.
Sorry, no room for you.
That's fine.
You can't yell at the zombies. They don't listen.
No, but I come up with creative.
Are you going to make a
trebuchet? Yes, you can drive trucks through the zombies. I can drive any truck.
I might need you to operate a diesel manual 12 speed truck. Yes.
Yes.
Fine. I'll let you on.
I'm the one that is good. That will be driving.
But if you keep yelling, I'll throw you out.
Got to attract them. So
you yell at the zombies, I will kick you out while it's moving. I'm just letting you know. It's like I don't need to disengage it. I can just keep going at this point. I only need you to get it to 12, and then we can kick you out.
Yeah, but then you got to stop eventually.
It's the zombie apocalypse. No, I don't. We're going to stop at red lights.
No, but you're going to stop at it. You will stop when you're going to make a left.
No,
you're going to have to downshift.
No.
Yes.
I don't have to stop. I will take very wide berth turns.
You still need to slow downshift, and if you don't know how to shift to begin with, you're going to downshift and then be screwed.
You're not understanding the point of zombie apocalypse.
No, it's not about. No, it's not about the safety. Okay, it's
what
not.
Am I worried about?
Rolling the truck.
That's why I said wide berth. If I go through 5 buildings, what do I care?
No. What has happened in Batman movies does not happen in real life. This is why I don't play trucker video games, because it's never physics. The physics is always wrong.
I'm playing Twisted Metal. I'm not playing Trucker Simulator. Let's go.
Look, we gotta have fun. We seriously absolutely have to have fun.
The battle begins.
Right?
We're talking about zombies. Joe Biden is a zombie, okay?
Okay. Nice segue.
Joe Biden's a zombie. Asa Hutchinson's a zombie. Trump is close to being a zombie. He's not. He's still got his faculties.
Look, if he's a zombie, he's going to be the best zombie ever. You better believe it, okay? Nobody. Some people would say he eats more brains than anybody else. I'm not saying that, but most people would say that, yes.
With the amount of junk food he likes to eat.
No, that's Joe Biden.
That's Joe Biden. Why do you
Joe Biden's the worst zombie. He doesn't eat people. He just sniffs them. He basically becomes the zombie version of a bloodhound.
Hair.
And you just see him go you just see him get on all fours and he just points towards them like this.
He's the zombie that wants to sniff you and have you touch the hair on his legs.
Yeah.
In the pool.
Moving on. I'm sorry. I am sorry, everybody.
No, we're not.
It's my fault. That's my fault.
No, we're not sorry. We're having fun. Yes, tonight is called The Battle Begins, and we're going to be recapping, talking, giving our opinions on what we saw when it came to the Republican presidential debate.
Yes, because
there
won't be a Democrat one.
and also the Tucker.
Even though there are challengers, they're literally not going to hold. The DNC has already made it abundantly clear they will not have a debate.
Oh yeah, no,
nope.
Kennedy is running as a Democrat,
and anybody else at this point who wanted to possibly challenge Joe Biden will have to challenge him without ever debating. The
DNC has already said that they're not going to do a debate and they're not going to do a primary, which is technically more unconstitutional.
Do that.
Well, because the DNC runs its own, but technically, it would be definitely elder abuse. It would be televised as they just beat up on him and he's just drooling into a cup.
Well, it depends. It depends on if the crack dealer that has his Adderall puts the combinations right and he actually sounds coherent for about 10 minutes. Because that's usually what
debates last longer than 10 minutes.
I understand that.
So again, I still go by my previous statement.
Well, I still say there's an animatronic version for when there's speeches.
What's it using? ChatGPT? I'm sorry, Vivek Ramaswamy. So anyway,
the only good thing that our former governor who is running for president,
Shamu. I still think that was the best thing.
What?
When did I make that joke? I think it was.
It was back when he sat on the beach.
No. I'm not talking about that joke. I'm talking about the joke about if before the debate happened. I don't think it was on the podcast.
No, I think you made it.
But it was just private. Yeah, but
somebody should yell.
Like every time everybody's up on the panel and the Democrat. But whenever somebody would go over their time, Chris Christie would just walk over candidly to them and just start eating them casually. Casually eating them. Right. Like, I'm so sorry, Pence, you're over. And Chris Christie just starts gnawing on his shoulder. It's kind of like Pac-Man. He just opens his big mouth and
and we're also going to talk about the Tucker softball interview.
I mean, it's Tucker.
No, actually, Tucker has done better interviews with other people and actually hit hardball questions. But it just seems like it wasn't it was a televised get together between friends. It was not an interview.
No, it wasn't an interview. But
it was supposed to be an interview.
I mean, just because other people said it was going to be an interview,
he gave harder questions.
But I don't think Tucker ever said it was going to be an interview. Yes, I just think he said he was just going to have Trump on and they were going to discuss things. I don't think it ever was pointed out that Tucker was going to be interviewing Trump.
No, he said
Trump
he was going to be interviewed. It was
I don't know.
Advertised as an interview.
Yeah, but advertised as an interview by other parties.
No, by him because he controls his own content now.
Yeah, I know. But but other companies still like to talk about him. But
no, this was I follow Tucker, so it was an advertised interview.
Look. I like Tucker. I don't have a problem.
I like Tucker. I just think that if you're gonna go after Pence and Asa Hutchinson and all these other people that you recently, a few weeks ago,
also low hanging fruit.
But he gave harder questions to DeSantis, and he gave harder questions to
The Fly interviewed Mike Pence better than anybody. Okay.
No, Mike Pence wouldn't shut up, so there could be an interview. God. I'm just going to say this right now. 3 people did. How many? There were 6 total. Was it 6 or 7?
Yeah, Asa Hutchinson.
I know there was the
Tim
guy
Scott,
nobody remembers.
The guy I don't know, bushy eyebrow guy. I'm sorry, but you did good. You did do good. But other than that, I don't remember
if it was 7 or 8.
Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Asa Hutchinson. 7.
So then 7. Okay, 4 people on that stage did not matter.
Yes.
Okay, Asa Hutchinson, he's old guard. He's old guard.
Should not have even started.
It should never even have started. He keeps trying to brag on what he's done in Arkansas or Kansas, one of those 2 places that he was governor in. But he got beat by Trump's former press secretary in the last election. Or no?
She went
Arkansas or Kansas, one of the 2. I don't remember.
I think it was Arkansas.
I think he's from Arkansas as well. I don't remember.
I love it.
Anyway,
it's not Arkansas. It's Arkansas.
8.
No, there was 7. It would have been 8 with Trump.
Trump would have been 8, but he didn't.
And they didn't let Larry Elder in.
They didn't let Larry Elder in, and there was another guy who just dropped out, Franco something or another, Franco Suarez. But he just dropped out. But he wasn't anybody. It
was the guy nobody knows from South Dakota, the South Dakota governor. Mm-hmm. It was Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Asa Hutchinson, Mike Pence. No, there was 8. I didn't say Mike Pence first. It was 8. It was 8 total. Okay, so 5 didn't matter.
Who did I miss?
You didn't count Mike Pence, or you didn't count
somebody who was unmemorable. No, I counted Chris Christie.
But anyway, yeah, our illustrious fatso, former governor.
8. Yeah.
Okay, 5 of them didn't matter on that stage. The guy nobody remembers, even though he did well. Nobody knew his name before, and I still can't tell you.
And that's not good, because if I can't remember your name, then you're not going to be president. No offense, but
I didn't even know who you were. I would have rather had Larry Elder, for honest, because at least I knew who he was. Nikki Haley said a couple things, but then started eating her own shoe again. Like she just puts her foot right in her mouth. Started out well when she came out with her. It's not just the Democrats who have screwed you; it's the Republicans have too.
Yeah, but you know what? Though, all right, so let's start there. Right, that's a good talking point. Right, Nikki Haley comes out with that, and well, all right. Hold on first. Before we get into any of the candidates, let's first talk about Fox and the horrible moderation.
The questions were horrible.
If you are a moderator at a Republican, this goes to show you just how woke now Fox is. Okay,
yep.
Sorry, but
they brought up aliens. Why?
Hold on, no, that wasn't the one I had a real problem with. They did, yeah. But I don't really care much about that one.
Christie, that was his question, which was hilarious.
My problem with it is why are you bringing up climate change to the Republicans? Because no Republican should be sitting here going, "Oh, climate change is a serious issue, and we really need to fight climate change. We need to reduce our carbon footprint." If you're saying that, you're a Democrat.
No. Here's the worst part: it wasn't even that they brought it up. They brought it up. No.
It was a kid asking a question.
No. Well, no. They said by showing of hands. What? Do you believe in climate change? DeSantis actually came out and was like, what are we in kindergarten? Let's actually debate this. Why are we raising hands?
Right. And not only that, but then like Vivek, he turned around, he said it's a joke, it's a scam, right? Or it's a sham or something like that, right?
It's a hoax.
Nikki Haley, she gave a really good response. Like people responded to it, and I think the responses were good. But
majority of them still said they agreed with it.
The problem I have
5 out of the 8 said they agreed with it.
The problem I have with it is that it should never have even been a topic. It was a waste of time in the debate.
Aliens shouldn't have been a topic.
Things that subjects honestly should have been debated on that stage with those candidates, especially to bring out. Let's get to the point. Debates are meant to actually give different opinions on that stage,
on policies,
to give you a better idea of where these different candidates are going to separate from each other. As Republicans, you're generally going to go, okay, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, not for climate change, pro borders. Like these are topics
Those
that are
don't
just
need to be brought up.
absolutely need to be brought
You should
up
be
because
going after education.
nobody's going to argue
which
those
they
points.
did.
Yeah, but
that was way later.
But think about all the questions that could have been asked because they did ask those. They couldn't. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah.
you wasted time.
And they asked aliens.
Well,
Who
like,
gives a rat's behind about
They could have
aliens?
brought up a whole bunch of things. Like let's talk about.
They didn't bring up LGBT.
They didn't bring that up because they can't.
Yeah, because Fox is woke.
Correct.
And
there you go. So
Yeah,
they
I
can't
know.
bring that up.
Right.
But what they didn't do, and this is the part that I thought was really bad, they did not bring up any time, and I'm not fairly certain, any of the policy of Biden, any of the problems they have with the policies that Biden has done. Right? They did bring up the economy, I think. The only thing they brought up was...
They didn't bring up the economy. DeSantis was the first one to bring up the economy.
The candidates did.
Brought it up.
I'm
The
not talking
candidates
about...
brought it up.
Before we get to the candidates, I'm still
No,
talking
but what
about
I'm saying
Fox
is,
and the moderators.
I'm saying the candidates brought up economy.
Correct.
The moderators
panel,
didn't.
The moderators in charge of the debate did not bring up the subjects that should have been brought up, and that was a fail across the board.
All the big subjects that Republicans actually care about,
Wanted to hear about. Yeah.
want to hear about. The candidates themselves brought it up while answering another question.
And this is why, and I know we're not going to get into a debate about it, me and you personally, but this is why people are saying that Donald Trump did better than the candidates. Excuse me. Than the candidates at the debate is because people know what Donald Trump already stood for, and in his Tucker interview, as you said,
softball.
He still was able to tell the people about his stance on things.
Did you watch it?
Some of it, yeah, not all.
He didn't give his stance on anything.
No, he did. He talked. He got to talk. He got to talk about like what we were just saying. He got to talk about Biden. He got to talk about the things that Biden has done that are terrible for this country. He got to talk about the things that
he didn't answer. You know what he didn't answer that he should have been able to answer.
I told you I don't want to get into the debate about Trump. It's not about Trump.
No. I'm saying the one question that Tucker asked, and he gave a non-answer. Okay, they stole the election last time. How you gonna stop them this time?
Yeah.
We're just gonna stop them.
Okay.
How's that a plan?
Well,
we're just going to stop him.
Look, to be clear, though, he's got to be kind of careful about that stuff because he might start another January 6th riot on another day, apparently. Because apparently when you say peacefully and make your voices peacefully and patriotically heard, you foment a riot and you're involved in an insurrection.
Well, no, there's actual things that they could do.
But Trump could have said, how are you going to stop that? How are you going to stop them from stealing the next election? Anything he could have said after that could have been used as...
You should have just said you can't.
You don't want that because then he looks as a coward.
Right. And
you do not want that.
This is why, as much as I agree with you, maybe there are softball questions, maybe his answers are softball.
Way too softball.
There's a legal precedent for things that Trump can and can't say right now because of all the cases that are against him.
I did hear.
So there's probably a lot of restrictions on what he can and can't talk about.
I do. This is a funny. I'm actually. Somebody said something. Some people that I follow. I follow a bunch of different people. People I agree with. People I don't agree with. Somebody that I do usually agree with posed a question, and he wasn't even one that posed it. Somebody else posed it to him, and he was relaying it to everybody.
Gotcha.
Was Trump, if you notice, ever since now that we've got all these indictments out, Trump is not doing his rallies anymore. He is not.
Yeah, because he probably can't.
He's not doing any one-on-one interviews on TV, live interviews on TV.
Yeah.
He didn't do the debate. And they don't think it's Trump actually saying no. It's his lawyers saying no.
You should.
Because if he goes on the debate stage, they switch up the questions, ask him a question about one of the... And he can be entrapped.
Yeah.
And now, I really think that that's a ploy, too.
I also think that that's why they're doing it, to keep him off of it, because be like, oh, now you can't...
It's a lose-lose situation for him. It is.
Now, I still think he's a coward for not going, because the thing is that Trump... We all love Trump when he goes off the rails.
Right.
Okay, we love it when he goes off script. The problem is when he goes off script and doesn't stay in it. Like if he stays in a certain time limit, he can go off script, say his point, and be done. But you give him too much longer and he rambles, that's when he tends to put his foot in his mouth, even on things that we've all agreed on. Like he goes too far. But
if you want to go too far on a subject he's not allowed to go too far on, like he could put himself into trouble.
And it could end up, and then they can go, this is evidence. It was on national television. Right. We can use that evidence.
Right. Build it in his own case against them.
To a point, I somewhat agree into it, but at the same time, I think it's cowardice not going to the debate.
But the candidate, so Trump not being there, Tucker interview, whatever, I'm not even going to talk about that really, because people are going to say their opinion on it regardless. But we did want to talk about the candidates that did debate, because that's what
you mean when Pence shut up?
So let's start with the low tier of the debaters and talk our way up.
All the other ones except for three.
No. So let's start at the bottom with Asa Hutchinson. Right. Asa, let's go.
Let's put it this way: the no-name guy is higher than Asa Hutchinson.
So let's start with the worst. Out of the 8, ranked 8 out of the debate, was hands down the worst was
Asa Hutchinson. He is old school. He is old guard Republican that doesn't need to be there anymore. He's the type of Republican that even Republicans today don't like.
Well, not just that, but he stands on the old platforms. Not that they're bad platforms. Right. Like, he's still pro Second Amendment. He's pro life.
He's also pro war. He's pro. We are the world's police force.
Right, and he also believes in, like, supporting our military. Which, I mean, they're old bags. I'm not saying that they're bad, though.
We should support our military, but we also shouldn't be. They believe in we need to support our allies by sending them troops and money and guns and. But the
issue with Asa, and let's just stick to the debate, because Asa Hutchinson, you could go and look at his voter logs if you really want to know what he stands for. But truth be told, he disappeared. Oh, yeah. I honestly think even think there were times where the questions were brought up and Asa didn't even get a chance to answer.
No, Pence.
Not just because of Pence, but just because, like, he was not strong enough to get himself into the debate.
He'd already shot himself in the foot. I realize you guys didn't see it, but I actually watched it, and you can watch all the interviews that Tucker did at this family conference.
But that preamble
he shot himself in the foot, him and Mike Pence, really. But Pence was the only one that got booed that day in Iowa. The people that you want to get voting for you for the primaries, he got Iowans to boo at him, and they don't boo at anybody ever. They're like Canadians, but on the American side. Like, they're really nice. But Asa Hutchinson is like, So anyway,
Asa disappeared. Asa didn't do well. He didn't answer questions. He didn't get his voice heard.
Or if you answered a question, it got drowned out.
Yeah, and it was interrupted. But Asa just doesn't have the dominant power that you need from your leader. Yeah, like, you want your guy.
He's another old guy that shouldn't be in the White House.
Well, that's too. But aside from that, going just on the debate, not your opinion, your personal choice about this.
I said we were going to talk about opinions.
Well, I mean, it is opinion, but I'm saying, but facts are in the debate. If you watch the whole thing, he disappeared.
He got 2 words
couldn't answer questions. He could, and even when he did answer, he barely, like, it was so short and pretty much static response.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Asa did not do well. So Asa definitely would take the 8 spot. 7, in my opinion, is Tim Scott.
Nikki Haley.
I think Nikki Haley outs him just by a little bit.
Nope. Tim Scott. You know what put Tim Scott first?
But hold on. Let's be clear. Who's after Nikki Haley in your opinion? Tim Scott.
Then Tim Scott.
All right. So we can play the same role, because I'm going to swap both of them either way.
False. I would go Nikki Haley, the guy nobody remembers, then Tim Scott.
No, I think he bumped both.
Because and it's only for one thing. As a Republican person running, now I realize what DeSantis is, what he's done in Florida, and what they passed in Florida. I realize what they passed in Iowa, but nobody had a thing in Iowa that's running.
Right.
Okay. They passed, both Iowa and Florida have led the charge with doing 6-week abortion bans. They're the lowest in the country. Like, once you get past 6 weeks, there is no abortion unless it's, deemed more of a medical necessity,
which is, and by the way, I just want to make sure people are clear. Believe it or not, if you talk to certain medical professionals, they actually do not call it an abortion when it is medically necessary.
No, they call it a medical. No,
the procedure's name.
That's what it's called.
Is what they call it. They do not call it a. They do not call it.
It's not an abortion. Because an abortion.
It's got a specific name. The procedure is specifically deemed a name.
But anyway, Tim Scott was the only one up there that said it. He's the only one that said it out of all of them. Mandatory 15-week ban on abortions nationally.
Yeah, but he won't be able to do it. And that's why I think it's a dumb point. You can't federally mandate it.
You can federally mandate it.
But it won't work because the states are going to override your federal mandate because it's states' rights. you can't do anything about it. So the states are going to do what they want to do
They
against
can't-
that law unless you amend the Constitution.
Again, and that's the thing.
You have to make it.
I believe that they should be amending the Constitution for it.
I'm not arguing that point. Look, I'm pro-life.
Honestly, I think I think it should be across the board illegal all out, except for medically necessary. And again, that's a different procedure. But he was the only one that would say it.
Yeah.
The man also was up there the entire time. Look, I don't know what he is like as an actual believer, but at least he was talking my words. He's talking the words that were coming out of the Bible. The man was talking biblical things throughout the thing, and that's why I give him more props.
All right. I mean, I'm not looking at looking at
I look at what he answered, and
I look at their answers, but I also look at how they debated the other candidates.
Well, the reality is that everybody was attacking Vivek.
Well, I'm not even going against that either, because there were nobody really did cross lanes. I do give you that, but there were
except Pence crossed everybody's lanes.
Well, not just, but we'll get to him in a minute. Because honestly, all right. Real quick.
I know I could go off on him.
Go
through.
So Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, me and you swapped spots there, but honestly, my opinion on Tim Scott was reason why he would fall seventh to me was just because in his responses, though they were decent, they were a little rehearsed in my opinion. And I felt like he lacked a little bit more punch. Hold on. I thought he lacked a little bit of punch. I thought he lacked a little bit of command up there. I think when it came down to getting himself in edgewise, again, that dominating area.
Well, he's a Southern boy. He talks slower.
Not just he talks slower, but it felt like he was also not forceful in getting his voice heard either. He was better than Asa, but I definitely don't think Tim Scott did well, and I expected him to do better. That's the bigger part.
I expected him to be right where he was.
Nikki Haley, the only reason why I said Nikki Haley was a little bit better than Tim Scott was because she's
Asa Hutchinson with female parts.
She battled a little bit. She battled a little bit more in the debate side. She didn't back down, even though she was the only girl on stage. She didn't back down. She stood her own.
And the only female that was okay with abortions.
And she held her own. I do not like her as a candidate policy sides. That's different.
She's pro-war, pro-abortion.
That's different.
Well,
so again,
pro-women's choice.
So here's the thing. My opinion on her as a candidate, I'm not a fan of her, and I wouldn't vote for her.
Oh, no.
But on the debate side, I think she did better. Let me
state this before anybody gets in here and starts calling us sexist because we're bashing a woman and we're saying we wouldn't vote for her. No, I would vote for a woman as president.
Just not her.
Just not her. Not
and
Hillary.
I don't like her policy.
Not Hillary. Not
not
Joe Biden. CNI dog.
For me,
not any of them.
For me, Nikki Haley, it's voter logs. For me with Nikki Haley, it's not just voter logs. It's also her stance on certain subjects, like we already discussed. I would not back her at all. But that being said, in the debate, I thought she did debate well. I thought she did good.
She didn't hurt herself, but she didn't make herself stand out either.
But she didn't do good. All right. Yeah, no. So so that gets us through 8, 7, and 6. So we're at number 5.
The man we nobody knows.
No, I don't agree with you here.
He's not in the top 5. Or well, technically, I guess
you're going to put Pence over him. Pence was terrible. Pence was dreadfully bad.
No, the only reason why I'm saying that the guy the guy with no name.
He answered good.
He answered okay.
I think. All right. First of all, his answers were good. In my opinion, he would be over Pence. Pence, in my opinion, is 5. Then it would be him. And the only reason why
shouldn't be up there.
That's the reason why. Right. Pence shouldn't be up there. But his policy is not good. He's running as vice president. He's declaring everything he did that he didn't do, Donald Trump did. You were just VP. You were along for the ride. So everything he stood,
George W. Bush did the same thing when
but his position, everything he was debating with, the ammo he used was it's like, all right, so I'm gonna shoot back at you with Trump's gun and Trump's bullets. Like,
well, no, what cracked me? Okay,
bro, right, where do you stand?
So then you say at 5
is Pence.
Is Pence. Okay, my thing with Pence was number 1.
And he was interrupt this among us.
Number 1.
He interrupted so bad the moderators literally had to tell him no.
Okay, no, listen
twice.
The rules are in the debates.
If you get your name mentioned.
If somebody mentions your name while they're giving their answer, you're allowed a 1-minute rebut.
Right.
That's how it works.
Okay.
that's
Every
fair.
question they asked, because they technically were questions that were like about Trump's administration and stuff, or if somebody mentioned Trump's administration,
He's like,
I was mentioned.
I was mentioned.
No, you weren't.
We mentioned Donald Trump. Yes, but I was part of his administration. I should have a chance to respond. No.
Or they talked.
That was literally Pence's whole stance on everything.
He kept going the whole time on this.
Real. And of course, the only person who couldn't keep Trump's name out of his mouth was Chris Christie. So that being said, no, I don't think Vivek was talking about.
He did.
Well, no, he was talking about Trump in the sense of. We'll get to Vivek in a little bit. So anyway, but I say Pence worse than dude who's. Can you please look his name up? I can't do this.
It's
anymore.
like Bergen or something.
I thought it began with a C,
eyebrow
honestly.
guy,
but
no,
his
it's a B.
eyebrow guy. I don't remember his name, and I feel bad.
It's Bergen or Berga,
especially since I'm going to say you're fourth overall in the debate. I feel like that you should get. That can't be fourth. No, there's more.
No, 8, 7,
8, 7, 6. 5 is Pence.
5 is Pence.
There's not 4 people left.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
There's no name guy. There's Chris Christie. You keep forgetting Christie.
No, I'm not forgetting Christie.
The last 4, according to the list you've made, is no name guy, Chris Christie, Vivek, and DeSantis.
I thought there was somebody else. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're
Burgum?
Burgum.
Okay,
yeah,
Burgum.
It's Burgum.
Burgum.
It's
So,
Governor Burgum.
Doug
Burgum.
Burgum.
Okay.
North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Is it North Dakota or was
He's
South
from
Dakota?
North Dakota.
That's why nobody knows who he is.
The Bears.
From North
The
Dakota.
Bears. He got voted in a state where 20 people voted. All right, this doesn't.
All right. So anyway,
and they probably didn't even know who he was.
We both agree Pence needs to get his rear end out of this stuff. It's terrible.
Pence should be 8 and be gone.
Doug Burgum. Thank you. All right. Doug Burgum came in as nobody. Literally, I think people knew Asa Hutchinson more than they knew Doug Burgum.
I know of Asa Hutchinson just because of how
but you
how
knew Tim
awful he
Scott.
is.
You knew Nikki Haley.
100 though.
Right?
Who?
Huh? He looks old, but he's not
Yeah,
that old. He's not that old. He
only
looks
like
old.
40 something.
So anyway, Doug Burgum, in my opinion,
74.
He didn't look that old.
he didn't look that old.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, Doug Burgum, he answered well. He didn't answer a lot. But when he did speak, when he was questioned, when he answered, he gave not the greatest answers ever.
Well, my problem with him is when they were talking about the abortion issue and when they were talking about different things, he's like, I believe in this, but the people wanted this. And I'll at least give him that. He was like, I kind of believe this way, but the people wanted this, so we did that.
And he's a voice of the people.
That tells me, just like Munchin, is it Munchin that's in the Senate? From West Virginia, the guy that is supposed to be a Democrat, but he keeps voting Republican because Manchin.
Joe Manchin.
Joe Manchin, he's kind of like a Joe Manchin guy. Like, I don't agree with the people, but this is what the people want, and they put me here, so I need to do what they
right. And again, as a governor,
which means he knows his role
as governor,
as anybody, any politician. They don't work. We don't work for them. We don't live for
governor, right?
Yeah, he's governor. Yeah. He's current governor. But like any politician at any level. You don't work for yourself, and we don't work for you. You work for us,
right?
And he understands that. Yeah. So, I have respect for that,
right?
But at the same time, I really didn't like his answers because I'm like, dude.
Well, I thought his answers were good.
If I come over to your name and I go like this, am I going to wipe the R off?
Well, that's why he's at 4. To be clear, like he's not the best.
But you're saying that the guy that actually has a D next to his name is number 3.
Well, okay, so
D stands for Democrat and also dumbass.
Well, all right. So, but here's the thing,
and I could put an F there too.
Look,
for fact.
All right, so Chris Christie definitely is number 3.
He might as well be a Democrat.
But here's the thing: we have a personal disdain for Chris Christie, but we also have a personal appreciation for Chris Christie because Chris Christie, as governor of New Jersey, did a lot of things.
The only good thing he did was going up against the teachers union.
He blew it up. He did some other things too. But here's the thing. He did some other things.
What, trying to rebuild the mafia when it comes to a bridge?
Stop. Dude, I'm going to interrupt you every time you talk. I'm going to just start interrupting you. We're going to get one of those big clap things. I'm going to start clapping in his nose every 2 seconds. Chris Christie, when he was governor of New Jersey, he did do good things in the very first portion of his time.
First 4 years,
okay?
I will agree with that.
He did very good. He ran on his policies. I would say I hate saying this because it's not at all a commendation to him, but he was very Trumpian in one fact. He talked about the things pre-election, got elected, did those things.
Or at least attempted to, because there were
some of the things he got shut down on because of the Congress
because
of
it's
Jersey.
the rest of the government.
And also because New Jersey is a blue state, not a purple state, not a light blue state, deep blue. It is a Democrat state.
We are blue with chickenpox.
But New Jersey also has this wonderful pattern of continuing to elect Republicans when they get tired of the Democrat. It's like, it's funny. It's almost Murphy's the only two-term Democrat in God knows how long.
Since 1960.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Wow. So it doesn't usually happen that way.
Well, you know what's even funnier?
Just bad because we had no candidates
before the 60s. Before the 60s, New Jersey was red.
Yeah.
New Jersey wasn't just red.
But it's just because
New Jersey is what Florida is now.
And New Jersey became what it is because it is kind of like a East Coast California type deal, and without
because
Hollywood,
of New York, and
without Hollywood, because we're close to New York, we're close to Philadelphia. We have we have Metro City life, we have local life, we have shore life.
When they got
we have all these good things going for us, and now we have Central Jersey.
Shut up. Shut up. There's no such thing. I don't care.
Our stupid governor made Central Jersey code.
He put it as a law.
As a law. He made a law that made them
recognize
the people who are in charge of transportation and stuff make a new map that puts Central Jersey as an actual area of the map. It's so stupid.
There's no such thing.
In the eyes of every New Jerseyan in the world,
My
there's
eye
no Central Jersey.
twitched.
Even the people who live in the middle of New Jersey don't go, no, there's no Central Jersey. We don't.
We're either north.
Only lunatics believe in Central Jersey.
Chris Christie in his first 4 years, fired.
That's the fifth time, by the way.
That's not enough on my phone.
It was.
That wasn't mine.
No, I've only had one thing. That was my start time for
we got Chris Christie in his first 4 years doing basically what he said he was going to do within reason, obviously. Again, politics are politics. The second term of Chris Christie was where it got bad. And this is the thing
where
that's
he
bad.
Ate all our profits?
Well, this is where it's bad for Chris Christie because this is what people, especially New Jerseyans, remember from Chris Christie. But it would have been okay if it only was in a bubble of New Jersey, but because it got super televised with the bridge
with New York,
Bridgegate, and then the beach junk during COVID, he literally became a meme.
COVID. That was before COVID. They closed the beach for a whole nother reason.
I don't remember what it was, but either way, the beach was closed off to the public, and his fat behind was photographed on the beach with his family.
I believe it was after
and then it became
hurricane,
literally
what
a
was
meme.
The hurricane
literally, when the bridge in Philly went down, there was a meme going around of Chris Christie's beach photo on the bridge as though he broke the bridge, which was hysterical because of the Bridgegate and that. So it was like, but he became meme, and okay, fine. We as New Jersey people get it. People outside,
and because of him, we have higher taxes on fuel.
Yeah, he did a bunch of stuff. He did a bunch of stupid stuff at the end, and so we get why Christie's bad. But on the debate, I knew this going in from last time. He looks
good on debate.
He's a good debater. Okay, I wouldn't say he's a master, but he is a good one. Okay. I had to do it. I had to. I'm sorry. I'm a child. I apologize.
He needs a crane to lift the flub.
Look, but he is a good debater because he knows how to play the game, which is I'm going to throw jabs. I'm going to get under your skin. I'm going to rile you up because in that you will make a mistake. Yeah. And the mistake you make is televised. And when you do, that means I can jump you. I can not jump you, beat you with clubs, jump you, but jump over you in the polls.
Yeah, he
knows how to play.
And he did it. He did it.
He did. He attacked Vivek. He attacked Vivek. He attacked DeSantis.
No, he didn't. He didn't touch. Nobody touched DeSantis.
That's right.
DeSantis.
You can't touch the pretty boy.
No, because what are you going to attack him on?
They could attack him on anything.
No, they. No,
I mean literally. You could, but you just didn't.
But you can't because he can go at you with the policies that he's done.
We'll get to that in a minute. But anyway,
that's the problem.
They attacked Vivek. He attacked Pence. I think he attacked Tim Scott. I think he attacked Tim Scott on something stupid, but it was dumb anyway.
Yeah, it was. Tim Scott actually had a good answer,
and he interrupted Asa
Wasn't hard.
And then Asa didn't respond.
Wait. Did he interrupt him, or did his shadow?
Asa had a long pause, and then Asa didn't respond afterwards.
That's what I'm saying. Did the shadow come over? And because of how old Asa is, it got dark, so he went to sleep.
So Chris Christie, here's the thing. Chris Christie
eclipsed the sun.
Chris Christie debates well, and in the debate stage, he looks like he needs a wide lens to photograph him. But other than that, he looks
three lenses.
He
connected.
looks like somebody who can command some sort of presence in the form of being able to challenge other thoughts, other things. Now, policy wise, Christie does not have, in our opinion, a good catalog of policy. And if anything, he's somebody that would replicate kind of a Joe Biden-esque. He'll say the things he needs to get elected, but once he's in office, you're really you're rolling dice.
I mean, besides the fact,
which is why he said you can rub that R and change it to a D.
Rub that R off. No, you're going to rub it off, and you're going to find there's a D underneath. Like
that's what I'm saying. So, like, I'm not saying he's a rhino, but I'm just saying
I'll tell you why.
He's not a rhino because he's not disguising himself as a Republican being a Democrat. He just has policy that some is Republican, but then some is Democrat. And when you're there, you're just going to be like,
as much as I have my issues with Trump, as much as I have them, my biggest thing is that everything going on with the indictments is absolutely wrong. I will say that till I'm blue in the face. All of it is absolutely
he's
wrong.
One of the few people
and
that
he is one.
Right there.
And he said,
literally,
factually, that he would not pardon Trump. He needs to go to jail.
Right. And that and I don't know, but I think everybody on there though agreed to that very first statement in the opening that if Donald Trump was given the nomination from the GOP, would you support him?
And
I think they all agreed. Not Christie. Though.
Christie went like this. They were like, "Did you raise your hand?" He was like, "No, I'm going like this."
Yeah. So Christie, I think, was the only one that did.
DeSantis raised his hand, but you got to also remember, DeSantis also said when they did the original indictment for New York. And DeSantis was like, you can indict him all you want. You can send a warrant if you want. We will not extradite him from Florida. But then Trump went up there anyway. Right. He could have stayed at Mar-a-Lago, and DeSantis covered him in Florida, but he went anyway.
So, all right. So let's get off of Christie, and let's go to number 2.
And you roll over 3 times, and you're still on top of him.
Let's go to number 2. And again, this is in our opinion, not the policies, not the public's opinion. Vivek Ramaswamy. Yes. Vivek was number 2. The people will say Vivek won the debate. The people, the masses, people in polls.
I turned this down. Why?
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
It doesn't like you. It said no.
No, you know what it is? I forgot to do another bar for notifications.
Yeah.
Stupid Androids. I better put. It was number 2.
He's been counting. He's got nothing better to do. He's just listening.
Look,
he's the audio guy. I'm going to trust him.
If the doctor would take the emergency brake off, you wouldn't have that sound.
There you go.
Yes, I just quoted Doctor Who, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know.
So Vivek is number 2, even though everybody else will say he won the debate.
I'll split it with how, and this is where everybody that I've listened to, yes, you have the specific people who are like on his lap. You have other people who don't like Vivek. Basically,
I'm not even coming out.
No. What I'm saying is the comparison has been made. If you are a person who gets your politics information from other people, you think that Vivek won. If you're the type of person that does your own work, DeSantis won.
Well, and so here's my point.
That's the difference. People who rely on other people, doesn't matter who you rely on. Who rely on other people believe Vivek won.
I'm not even going off of that. I'm going off of my personal opinion in the situation. Now, we were talking about this before the show, and I just was kind of trolling you a little bit because I didn't want you to know where I was going. But the reason why I say Vivek is number 2.
You know why he trolls me before? So he gets it out of me before I get on the camera, and I'm not good.
This is true. So anyway,
because I come in here hangry and usually frustrated with work. You fed me today, but I was also frustrated with work because of last week. So
anyway,
there's a building of things. So it could have very easily me coming in here being like angry bearded guy. Yeah.
But anyway,
so Vivek Ramaswamy number 2. Why? All right. First thing, everybody will say everybody else, like he was just saying, people, if you were watching somebody else who was watching the debate and reporting about it, or third-party people talking about the debate from their points, or even polls that will say, oh, Vivek did really well in the debate and his numbers are going up. So that shows that he won the debate. He didn't hurt himself. Vivek.
Well, he did, but I'll go into that.
Here's the thing. Vivek is a smooth talker. And I will give Chris Christie this one dig.
No, he had two.
I don't care about that. No, all right. The racist one to him calling him tech support from ChatGPT was racist. He said he was tech support.
He didn't say tech support.
Yes, he did.
He said you sound like
he said tech support for ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure it was racist. Either way, it's still racist. I'm not supporting.
I love it because he's not the only one that's saying it.
But he did say the last time that we had a guy who was really smooth talker
and stood up and said, when's the last time a brown guy this young that nobody knows stood in front of Obama said it? He perjured Barack Obama.
So basically now, I don't technically agree with Chris Christie on that one, but I will say this. Vivek might be amateur because he is a young guy. He has his own wealth. He is Trumpian in a lot of different ways where he's not a politician, and he has that kind of.
He also doesn't understand politics either.
He has a lot of that support because people like the non-Republican candidate or Republican but non-political candidate. Yes. And the reason why is because, well, we'll get to that in a minute. The reason why is because they are tired of the system candidates.
Oh, yeah, and I agree with that.
And honestly, a lot of the candidates that were up there on stage are Republican system candidates. They really are.
Except for really the top two. Well, no.
I would except say for one.
Burgum
maybe.
Burgum maybe, but
you don't know enough about Burgum. So again,
DeSantis isn't a system guy.
No. I'm not throwing
Vivek obviously isn't.
So Vivek comes in with that little bit of heat and that mustard on him. But he is a silver-tongued guy. And so where Christie was saying that, he does have a little bit of a point. Vivek has been caught now on countless occasions
lying
in different
and
interviews.
Doublespeak.
I wouldn't say lying. I would just say he is case talking. He is trying to get the people on his side, so he's speaking in the lines of the case of the people he's talking to. So if somebody he's interviewing is a little bit more liberal, but they're bringing a Republican candidate on, he'll try to win some liberal support by saying good liberal talking points. He'll do the same thing when a Republican set, and then he'll say something that seems very counter to the interview he just had, being on a liberal talk show, then go to a conservative talk show. He goes in a different direction. So I'll give you an example. Not saying he did this. This is not a verbatim. But let's just say he goes on a liberal show and they talk about, are you pro-life? And he'll say, yes, I'm pro-life. I believe life starts in the womb. Where do you stand on abortion? Well, I believe women should have the right to an abortion up to and including a certain period of time. And that it shouldn't be federally mandated, but it should be mandated by the states. And since Roe v. Wade was overturned, I think we should leave it alone. Something to that nature. That's a liberal point.
Okay, right.
Now, you go to a conservative talk show and you have that same question brought up, and he kind of goes, well, I'm pro-life. And they'll go, okay, well, where do you stand on it? Well, I believe abortion should be illegal across the board. That's not what you just said.
I can tell you.
So this is where you have that compilation.
He has done this a bunch of times already. 2 weeks before the debate, we were talking about this before we started. 2 weeks before the debate, he was on a podcast. Right. They asked him about global warming.
Right.
Or not global warming, climate change, whatever the hell they want to call it now. They talked about climate change. He said that he could, in the interview, said, and I watched that clip.
Climate change is
one of the biggest things we've got to deal with, and blah, blah, blah. Right. Then he gets on the debate stage and go, climate change is a hoax.
It's a scam.
You double speak, and now I can't trust what you say.
So, and in the sense of policy, though, this is why I say Vivek is too. Vivek has not made a good firm stance on his policy. He showed up really big on the debate, making a big presentation for himself, and he had to because he is a no-name, nobody guy. He doesn't have any voter records. He's not a politician. He's
not even a registered voter.
He's not registered in certain states to vote. So this leads you to say, okay, well then what are you voting for? Where do you stand? It kind of becomes a gambling type of situation.
Which Vivek are you?
Right. What are you going to get? So in my opinion, this debate he did. I think this debate, the reason why I put him at number 2 is because he did do some things good. He made a name for himself. He carved out a spot for himself.
I'm not going to say he didn't. I just don't trust what he says.
He needs to now take the next couple times that he's going to have if he does get there. Because he might not. Like we were talking before, New Hampshire and Iowa are going to determine about basically.
They're going to cut. They're going to trim the fat.
So if he doesn't make it through those 2 areas, he might not be on the stage next time. But if he does manage to get himself up there again, he needs to really start making some concrete policy stuff. People need to know what you're standing for. People need to know.
And you need to be solid.
It's not about who you are. It's about what you stand for. We got that. This debate, you did a good job. You did a good job carving a name for yourself, separating yourself from the rest of the group, making yourself seem very different. Although you may be very similar. We don't know that yet. But you gave us a lot to think about in the sense of you being different from them. Maybe Trumpian, maybe not. And so you're garnering a lot of support.
I feel like
he's running
but
for trying to be running on Trump fumes on the trail of the cookies of
my belief is that he's trying to become the bishop of the MAGA cult, which is hilarious because again, and this is things that I've said before. A year ago, this is just a year ago. He published a book where he praised Mike Pence as a hero for what he did in January 6th. And trashed on Trump. Right. Now all of a sudden you can't tell where Trump ends and Vivek starts.
Right.
Like I can't trust that.
And there's the thing. So again, Vivek 2, DeSantis 1. In my opinion, DeSantis won the debate because DeSantis stayed true to DeSantis. Now, what I will say though is, and this is again my opinion, I needed more from Ron DeSantis. He did good.
Needed better questions.
I understand that. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But I needed more.
And you needed Pence to shut up.
I needed more command from DeSantis. DeSantis did answer the questions.
Actually, I love the fact that he didn't get involved in all that.
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
When Pence and Vivek were going back and forth, I'm glad he stood back and didn't try to get in.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being an arrogant jerk. I'm not talking about putting yourself in where you didn't belong. But I can't put my finger on it, but I do know that watching him up there and watching him speak, also there were some hesitations in there that I thought were a little weird from him because when you've seen him do any kind of like, I will put it to you this way.
You want the warrior of Florida.
No. Well, yes, actually, not in the sense of that, but definitely in the sense of when he would have people peppering him on the stage when he's behind the podium in Florida and they're coming at him, he shuts people down. He tells them about themselves and then he takes it's like he does a mic grab and then does what he says and then does a mic drop. And there was none of that.
Well,
there was none of that on stage.
2 reasons. And this is why I think
it just didn't exist.
I think, especially when it comes to these primaries, I understand that anybody.
He might have been a little like stage fright, shock or whatever.
I don't think it's stage fright.
It might have been.
From watching everything that I saw.
He even looked like a deer in headlights walking out.
No, he just walked straight out.
But no, when he stood in front of the stage and they announced him, he just was like.
No, I don't think he. I don't think he had any of that. I really don't.
He did.
I think because he's been on large stages. That's not been an issue. He's been on television.
He did good, but he looked bad.
My thing is that there were a couple things that made it so that it made it hard for DeSantis to be DeSantis. Number one, when you have that, it's questions.
Yeah,
Number
questions
two, when you have 8 people on the stage, they have to go. Okay, you have 2 minutes.
Right.
Where when DeSantis does his best, it's kind of like Trump. When he doesn't have to fit in a box. Now, mind you, DeSantis has also been running on the aspect of I'm not going to be the guy that call it like I'm not Trump. I'm not going to act like Trump on stage. I'm not going to be the show. I'm going to let my policies be the deal. So again, he's not going to be that guy that gets nasty with people on the stage because he doesn't have to.
I want him to be nasty.
No, but that's what Trump did. That's what Pence was trying to do. Okay, and he just looked like a.
He looked like an idiot. Yeah. He looked bad.
He looked like
Pence looked bad. There's no argument.
You know what he looked like? You ever know that person that every time you say, no matter what you've done, they've done better. No matter what bad thing has happened to you, it's always happened worse.
Yeah.
They can always. That's what Pence was trying to do the whole time. Okay, which mind you, because Pence was doing that, even Vivek didn't get enough questions.
Yeah,
it was like Pence ruined the whole thing because he wouldn't shut up.
He was literally the fly in the suit.
Yeah,
and that's funny. That's funny right there.
I personally
that
think
is funny right there.
I personally
don't
think
care
that when
where you're from, if you know anything about the fly issue, you know that's funny.
I personally think that
Hysterical.
when they do these primaries like this, no matter which side it is, they need either to do like there was 8 of them. Split them up 4 and 4. Do 2 different nights.
No, I don't want that. No,
I think 8 people's too many on the stage.
No, because you know what though? It here's the deal. The reality of it is it's not just 8 people on the stage. It's candidacy, right? It's talking about candidacy, and that's why. And this is why I stand on what I say about Ron DeSantis looked bad. He didn't debate bad. He did not.
Do you know what he did?
Well, he didn't debate.
Do you know
He didn't debate.
He didn't get a chance to.
Right.
He would say an answer and they'd go immediately to somebody else.
Right, and
the minute they went to somebody else, Pence opened his mouth.
So this is where my point stands.
The only time that, and I'll tell you, I loved it. I cheered my TV, and it was early on when they did the. Can you raise your hand to tell us if you believe in climate
is this
change?
kindergarten?
He was like, "Whoa, this is a debate. What are we in kindergarten? Raise our hands? No, let's debate this.
And
Ask each of us the question, and we'll debate."
And that was the best that DeSantis was the entire night, and that was
no, it wasn't.
It was.
He did it again later.
Hold on. Wait. So real quick before you get to your question, because I really want to hear what you have to say too. I'm not saying I stand on this. DeSantis was the best in the entire thing. I'm telling you that was the strongest he was in the entire thing.
Well,
his answers were good. They weren't bad. He did give policy history. He gave voter log. He gave where he stood. He talked about it through what he's already done.
What he knows he can do.
He knows
later.
what he can do. He did a good job. I'm not bashing him. But what I'm saying is that was all you got.
And I think
that's
and
it.
I personally,
you didn't get anything else out of DeSantis. He
and
was not aggressive. I would have liked to see him aggressive.
And I'm telling you, with less people on that stage, he would have been. But they would have also had more time.
But that's my point. So you have 8 people. That's why, because that is an actual characteristic of the commander in chief you want. Because you're going to be sitting at a table with other foreign leaders who are going to try to bully you around, and you better be the big dog in the room.
He's already proven he can be the big dog.
But I don't know about how he's going to sit in a room with Kim Jong-il, or how he's going to sit in a room with Vladimir Putin, or how he's going to sit in there with Xi Jinping. I have no idea. But what I do want to see is him be aggressive. Look at the difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden when they walked in those rooms. When Trump walked in the room, they literally were like this. When Joe Biden walked in the room, they made fun of him.
And Joe Biden walked in like this. And he was being mocked and ridiculed. I don't want the commander-in-chief of the free world walking in with his tail between his legs. He needs to grab them by their fancy ties, pull their heads in, and then go, I am the captain now. That's what I want to see. And that's what I needed to see from him. Honestly, if he'd have done that one time, other than the kindergarten junk, and he'd have done it one more time on it, honestly, he didn't if he'd have put Pence in his place, I would have
loved it if Ron DeSantis stopped. He didn't have to debate everybody else. Ron DeSantis had to debate the moderators, and he should have. He should have called them out every time they threw a softball question out. He should have called them out for their woke politic questions. He should have He should have made a mockery of. Yeah,
like I said,
that's what he should have done. And if he'd have done that,
I forget which. I forget
100%.
I forget which question
he'd run away in the polls.
I forget what question they asked. He's the one that brought up. He was the first one to bring up how COVID had ruined the country and the economy. Right. He wasn't the only one. Vivek later brought it up.
He made really good points. And that's why I said he did good.
There were several times where they asked a question about this. But I just would have liked
to see that.
They asked a question about this, and he would answer that quickly and then go here. Yeah. And he was really good with it. Yes, I love DeSantis. I think that he is the best one.
DeSantis out of the debate in full form, I believe DeSantis was definitely the one who did technically win the debate, even though the people were going to say Vivek won. But that's
so. Then I have to, because we're running close on time.
Yep, that's why I wanted to
go for it. Just go for it.
So they're going to be really quick. Do not go off a topic. I'm answering asking a specific question.
Okay. Is it about the zombie apocalypse?
It is not.
Okay, darn.
Okay,
it requires
I thought we were going to talk about that.
Answer.
Okay.
And not add on to.
No explanation.
Let's go.
So Nolan first. Politics only on their stances, on their policies. Who would you want as president?
DeSantis, hands down. I've said it before.
Gary.
Out of the debate.
Out of the debate.
DeSantis.
Yeah. Okay.
DeSantis.
Yeah, not DeSantis.
I'm making sure we're talking about the debate.
Yes.
Okay.
The debate.
Good. Yep.
Now, who would you want as president regardless of the debate? We'll start with.
Are you saying like including Trump?
Including Trump, including anybody who's a possibility of running.
Well, right now, everybody who's running now has already got their name in the hat. Like there's no more coming in later.
Out of the ones that are in the hat, who would you want as president?
DeSantis still.
Okay.
So I would want Trump.
Okay.
But here's the reason, and I know it's one word answer, but real quick, the only reason why I would want Trump is because I believe there's a better play at hand if Trump goes and then DeSantis. I think it's better if Trump goes then DeSantis afterward. You get more time with actual concrete Republican policy based.
Okay. Now the other question is more lines of what you were talking about earlier. We're trimming the fat. Because I am not a politics person.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
what does that mean?
What does it mean, and how many do they slim it down?
It could possibly slim down to 3.
Here's what generally happens. Your first 2 primaries, or caucuses, I should say,
yes,
are Iowa and New Hampshire. Right now, they are the only 2 places that matter. Okay. You read these polls that'll tell you that so many percentage of Americans want this person.
It's not very accurate.
It's not accurate at all.
It's not accurate at this point.
At this point,
okay. Polls will get more accurate as you get the
and even then they're wrong because
they're wrong, but there's a percentage of margin of error, so you can use them if there's a large gap.
Remember 2016, all the polls said that Hillary was going to win in a landslide.
Right,
Trump won
in a landslide.
Okay, this is why I don't trust polls.
That polls you don't count. You don't count polls in the final election. But you can rely a little bit more on polls.
You can see a trend. You can see
trends, and you can also rely on them a little bit more when you're electing the candidate to represent the party. So, i.e., Democrats can use polls to figure out who's most likely going to win the Democrat nomination when the Democrat incumbent is not being reelected, and vice versa for Republicans.
Now, so that being said, Iowa and New Hampshire are the first 2.
Okay.
Iowa first, then New Hampshire. Now, Iowa and New Hampshire do not choose the final candidate.
Right.
What they do is they trim the fat.
Okay.
So they're going to get rid of anybody that's low in the polls, or not low in the polls.
Pause. To explain what he's talking about, they are going to have their own general election.
They have their own election.
They have their own general election for who the candidate, out of these 2 states, which of these candidates?
Well, they do each one individual. So
are you more likely going to vote for?
But it's different than regular voting because you can bargain for votes.
Correct. So they have the ability to run and campaign in there and really try to win nomination effort. Then in Iowa, they will vote based off of those things. They will pick who they want to represent the Republican.
They tend to vote for top 3. Each person can vote 3 people.
Right. So you're picking who you think are the better candidates out of Iowa.
Best out of the 3.
And then that goes, the same thing happens again in New Hampshire a little bit later.
And usually by the end of New Hampshire, it gets dropped down to 3 candidates.
So at that point, those 2 states have pretty much ultimately figured out who really are the good candidates.
And just to give you a stat, yes, it's a stat, but it tends to be true. Okay, only like 2 people have ever won the presidency and then gone to win in the White House.
Without winning both of them.
No, with losing Iowa. Nobody has ever gotten the candidacy for presidency without winning at least one of the 2.
Okay.
Trump and one other guy lost Iowa, but then still made it into the White House. But that's the only 2 that did it. If you are not if you don't win both,
you're
not getting it.
So do you think the top 3 that you guys picked are going to be the?
I will tell you. I
think it's going to be Trump, DeSantis, and Vivek are going to be the top 3 by the end of New Hampshire. Now you might get like Chris Christie because he's stubborn. He might try to stick it out until.
And to be clear, why it happens. I should say this. It's not like there's some kind of rule or long
it's
type
just
of
that you
paper.
figure out what everybody thinks about you by that point.
What happens in Iowa and what happens in New Hampshire basically sets a tone for people to support these candidates.
Yeah.
And so what Iowa and New Hampshire are doing is they're literally basically vying support for these candidates in a full force effort.
And what they do is they actually bargain.
They're talking about dollars. Support in the candidates running for election is about their ability to start their election campaigns in what now? I mean, they're starting what?
Well, technically, the caucuses
Technically,
don't start
some
till
people
January.
started like Trump started like at the beginning of January.
Well,
But,
even
like,
DeSantis started as soon as he came in.
correct. But technically, they don't really start their campaigns until like now. After the first Republican debate, they'll start flying around, and that costs money. They'll hold rallies.
Trump is the only one that's okay. I shouldn't say the only. Trump has spent the least amount of time in Iowa so far. Vivek and DeSantis have spent the most. DeSantis was in Iowa, but because that hurricane's coming into Florida and he's got to prep his state for,
he's got to do his job.
He went back to Florida to do his job, which I'll give him credit for.
Right.
Yep.
He could easily go, I'll tell you what to do from here.
Right.
No, he went down there and was like, no, we're going to take care of this. So
He's Ron DeSantis.
it's what he does. So, but yeah, what they end up doing is, and the voting is weird down there because you'll vote
Up there.
or up over there technically.
Up and over.
Well, no, I'm talking about Iowa. Even Iowa, what
so
they
up
do in
and over.
Iowa is basically they'll do a lot of these like straw man polls in Iowa because not everybody votes for the primaries. We know this, even in state New Jersey when it comes to our guys. Not everybody vote, but they'll have all the primary voters in the room, and it'll be like, oh man, Asa Hutchinson's got 1%. So what they'll do is the people that work with DeSantis, people who run the PACs for each individual candidate will go, okay, you don't have a chance of getting further than Iowa, but my guy does. Can you get your supporters to follow us?
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
I see.
And
So-
what that does is that translates into monetary support.
And it also
So their money is going to go towards that other
monetary
and their
monetary campaign funds matter because it's their ability to continue to campaign all the way up into
the
RNC convention, and then
that's where they choose
through that
ultimately choose.
because once
Okay.
the RNC has decided who the GOP nomination is and who's going to be running for president, then the RNC funds a portion of the campaign,
a large portion
of their campaign for president, but they still have to carry what's remaining into
and
their
they still
funds,
have to keep
and they have
getting
to,
more.
and they have to expunge those funds.
So they're going to need the
because
help from the other
it's like
candidates.
it's a nonprofit type organization.
So
they have to use all the money
so
of their
quite
campaign
literally-
finances on campaign.
So quite literally, it goes Iowa, then New Hampshire. They'll dwindle it down. Usually, it goes down to 3,
and that's why it dwindles down because they start
Money.
to run
Yeah,
out of money.
yeah, it'll dwindle down, and they look at
When they're not supported and they're not going to keep getting back or support,
Yeah.
they're not
So-
going to continue to get back or support.
So what
they're
they'll
not going
do
to be
is,
able to run.
so then after New Hampshire comes what they call Super Tuesday, which is March 5th. March 5th, it's actually 11 states. It's multiple states all at once doing a primary.
It's a very large portion of the country at one time.
Not New Jersey.
No, we're not in it, but it doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Still doesn't matter.
I
A
would vote-
large portion of the country will be making their primary vote.
Yeah, North Carolina is in it. There's a lot of them in it.
Right.
And at the end of Super Tuesday, usually it's brought down. Yeah, we know that's the clear-cut winner. Sometimes a second person will stick around.
Some people are stubborn and
They're
still
stubborn, but then when they get to after Super Tuesday, a little while after comes the RNC convention. At the RNC convention, and they do a DNC convention for the Democrats. At the RNC convention, all the super PACs and everybody pretty much announce who
And that's at that point where people will
That
bow
same
out.
person you will
That's
have
where
to
people
get.
have already made up their mind. They've decided who they're going to have the representation, and then they look to the candidates that did not win the nomination
support.
to support that
now,
candidate.
before the debate that they just had, everybody was given a
asked.
letter. You sign a contract. Will you support
whoever the GOP
is?
nomination is.
Even though Trump didn't go because he was invited to the debate, he didn't go. He was still given that.
a letter.
He refused to sign it. Said he will not support any GOP if he is not made president.
which is his ego.
Which is his ego.
Which, obviously.
Okay, which is
Look,
and he also
you're talking
said-
about a guy who still believes that he is the sitting
Well,
president.
I would say he's still the sitting president.
I do too. But that's another question for another day.
But yeah, so that's what we mean by it's trimming the fat. They will bring by the end of the primary.
Wouldn't it be funny if like something happened and it was this weird thing, and at the end of it, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Donald Trump was indeed the president. He was indeed the president the whole time, and this will go down in record as the worst presidency ever." So he had like 3 years of good presidency, and then he had 5 years of being the worst president ever. And they'll just put a name on him, put his poster up in the hall. Like he just outclassed Carter in every way, and it was like. But it was Joe Biden. We were like, no, it wasn't. You were the president. Here's the voter logs. Here, we got all the evidence to show.
I've been waiting for them to do that. Look,
you pull out the Samsonites out of the back. By the way, you won. But man, your policies suck.
No. Mr. Conspiracy Theorist.
You did get Roe v. Wade overturned, though. Good job, Mr. Trump.
Look, I will always say the first 3.5 years, and even after being out of presidency, the positive ramifications of Trump as president changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay. I will not, but it's that 1 year. COVID, everything he did with it, the vaccines that he still refuses to say that he was wrong on, that he's still pushing the vaccines, that he's still saying that it was the best thing ever. That is what I have a problem with.
Yeah, his ego. His ego sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's his ego.
His ego sucks.
And especially now, since if you haven't heard, people, the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates are coming.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to be pro that, but we'll see. If he's pro that, I will be right there with you and going, nope, sorry, Donald, you lost my vote. That's it. But you will also see a very big plummet in the polls for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If he says, no, I believe we need to really reinforce in lockdowns and mask mandates, Donald Trump will go from wherever he's at in the polls to zero. I guarantee that. You want to give yourself a funeral ceremony for candidacy? Back mask mandates and lockdowns.
What kills me is that
you will be done.
What kills me?
That is political suicide, okay?
What kills me is that Chris Christie did this again thinking he still had a chance. Okay? You already tried this once and got obliterated.
Yeah, but he had to fight Trump on that stage, though. Nobody won against him on that stage.
But I'm saying even against
Donald Trump made every single person on that stage in the first Republican debate. He literally destroyed everybody.
The only one he
didn't
destroy was Cruz. He had to make up crap.
Well, he still destroyed him, even though he destroyed him with lies. He still made him look bad.
He was trying to say that Cruz's family, Cruz's grandfather shot JFK.
I still love that one. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
That was like, really? And then he tried to say that Cruz was sleeping with Donald. Yeah, he was like, Cruz is sleeping with my secretary. It was like stuff like that.
He did it for one reason. He did it to enrage him and get him to look bad.
But
and he did.
But Cruz still won Iowa.
Okay, so one more question before we close up.
All right.
So what are the chances that Trump is actually in the next debate?
All right. I want to answer this before you do. Starting with one point. The RICO case is falling apart like a house of cards right now.
Okay.
People are literally being withdrawn from it immediately. A lot of the major players in the RICO case, their cases are being thrown out. There's a very large possibility that case falls apart in Georgia. So that's one of four. The DC case is probably going to run its course. That is probably the one he won't be able to shake away. Bragg's in New York is probably going to fall apart once it gets to jury selection, and they have to present actual evidence, and they have none, so that'll fall apart. And what's the other one?
Florida
Florida
will happen,
but it won't.
He will win Florida.
So, but that being said, all of these cases, here's the biggest problem with this. I don't think he will actually be able to face a debate. And I think that the long draw of not having Trump engage with the other candidates is going to...
It's going to hurt him.
It's going to hurt him bad, but I don't know if it'll hurt him bad enough to remove him from polls. So this is where... Or remove him from electability. This is where this is going to be very, very important.
This is where news that came out today becomes very,
well,
very
I'm not even talking
important.
about that, because here's the thing. I think that I will tell you this. I understand that if true, two things are true. One, this will be the very biggest and largest political manipulation of tampering known to
I
mankind
agree.
of an election on a megaton scale if they are removing him from ballots of being able to be
I wasn't
elected in
even going
states.
to removing ballots. I'm talking about the Super Tuesday thing.
But because the one case is literally right before Super Tuesday.
DC. DC. March 4th.
So he won't even be able to campaign.
March 4th
He
is
won't be
the
able to
start
campaign.
of the trial.
Right.
March 5th is Super Tuesday.
Which is all important, which is proving how absolutely
I agree.
large scale they are tampering.
I'm not arguing any of that.
But here's the point.
Which is what makes him unable to be elected.
I believe that. Well, see, here's what I believe. I don't believe he's unable to be elected. Here's what I believe. I believe the ploy is this. They are going to tamper with this to the point where he can't actually run an effective campaign. And I think
he won't be able to run a campaign.
and the effect and the ability for
the too many key states he needs to win won't have him on the ballot.
But that's another factor. But I think just in his ability to campaign, his ability to actually hold like any kind of stage, to be able to talk,
and all the money that he's getting, because they're saying that he's getting a lot of money.
He's getting money,
but he's having to spend it on defense.
Hold on, wait. The worst, we got to talk about this real quick. In the Democrats' attempt to literally do something ridiculously bad in throwing Trump into this hemisphere of we're going to obliterate him with a mugshot, it turned into profits for Donald Trump.
It wasn't profits.
Yes, well, it went to his campaign.
It went to his campaigns, which you can't call profit.
Well, whatever. He's going to spend it, but it funded his campaign. They built it to get him like, oh, look, we got him. Look, everybody. He put it on mugs, shirts, all this stuff, and everybody in the community is buying it and funding his campaign. It's hysterical.
Genius.
It's epic fail.
But see, here's the problem.
He's so funny. It's so funny.
He's put out a letter. That money that's in his campaign, he is allowed to use it this way, and he is using it this way. The campaign funds that he has are currently right now paying his defense.
Right.
So that's the problem.
But hold on.
It's gonna mess up.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't even care about that because that's kind of political gaming anyway.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying all this money that he's getting, if he didn't have to pay
it would go to campaign.
It would go to campaign.
But because he has to, this is the part
this
of it.
This is putting him even further back.
But this is what's funny about this. All of this stuff is going to be used as a campaign push. My point is that I don't think it's going to do him justice. I don't think unless he is exonerated or these cases are thrown out before it gets into the deeper call of like debate times, I don't think he'll be able to debate. So I'm going back to your original question.
See, here's the thing.
I don't think he'll be able to debate, and I think that his inability to campaign and debate effectively will eventually pull him out of the ranks because that's where he needs to shine, to be honest with you. Yeah. Because right now, all he's getting are these sidebar interviews and these little
and now he is tweeting,
and he can't really talk, and he can't really even tweet that much about things that
he can. That's what tweeting is safe for him because he's stuck within 130 characters.
No, I am not saying that, but whatever. But it's tweeting. But he can't. He still can't. He can't talk about the things that he cannot. Think about this.
The symbol formerly known as Twitter.
Hold on, wait. Real quick. That was good. Real quick. Things Donald Trump can't talk about. He can't talk about January 6th. He can't talk about how the election was rigged. He can't talk about how it was stolen from him. He can't talk about
the stuff that he had.
Can't talk about.
He can't talk about Biden as well as him. He can't say that Biden had things he wasn't supposed to have.
He can't talk about that stuff. He can't talk about voter fraud. He can't talk about voter tallies, voter machines. He can't talk about any of that because of the case in Georgia. He can't talk about classified documents. He can't talk about Joe Biden's classified documents. He can't talk about Hunter Biden and all the stuff with that because of the Florida case. He can't talk about what was the New York?
New York is pretty much his campaign funds.
Right, he can't
using campaign funds to pay people off.
He can't talk about what he's doing in his campaign. He can't talk about his finances. He can't talk about any of his business transactions or business deals. He can't talk about any of this stuff. And what do you think people want to hear from him?
Yeah,
they want to hear him.
So the only thing he can talk about is COVID, abortion, guns,
and he won't talk about COVID because because
it's not a good subject.
It's not a good subject.
And not only that, but he what's he going to talk about? Guns. He's already done. He's going to talk about abortion. What's he going to talk about?
We know about.
Right. We already know
abortion. He actually said DeSantis went too far.
He said DeSantis went too far. And everybody already knows. Everybody already knows. All you got to look at Trump's history. He's been pro-abortion. He's a New Yorker.
He's pro-life.
He's pro-life, but he believes that abortion should be available to people who need them. Up to a certain point.
He believes like 15 weeks.
Yeah.
He's like one of those.
Right. So anyway,
third trimester.
This is the thing. Everybody knows what Trump stands for, but the things he needs to talk about, he can't because of these trials.
Now,
and so literally, that is what's going.
Now,
to
what
cripple.
I will say is, when you were
cripple.
talking about the RICO case in Georgia, Bryan Kemp, the governor of Georgia, has already come out and said, no, we will not be trying this case before the election. So this case cannot be tried until after the election.
And not only that, but it's falling apart too.
That I don't know. But I do know
already three withdrawals that have been approved.
I already know. Bryan Kemp has come out and said that we are not doing this.
We'll see what happens.
Actually, the Georgia case was supposed to happen March 4th.
Right.
Bryan Kemp came out and said no, it won't happen until after the elections. Said Georgia will not be in the way of. We will not be held for an election fraud. Blah blah blah.
God. So
DC then was like, oh really now, and now that's federal. Now the problem is with the difference between a state court date and a federal court date. State court dates tend to get pushed back a lot more. Oh, we need more time for research. We need a lot more time for that. When they do federal cases and they say it's happening today, it happens that day. Yeah, and they already tried to push it. Trump already tried. His legal team already tried to get them to push it until the summer after Super Tuesday, but like sometime in the summer. No, 2 years. They tried to get them to push it back 2 years. So 2026. And the judge said, you don't need that long for discovery. Nowadays, all you need to do is look. Everything you'll need for discovery is online. You don't need that long looking through. You're not looking through papers in a box. You're looking online. It's a lot faster. You don't need that long, so you're not getting it. Already shut it down. There is no moving it. It is happening March 4th. Now, I've always said this, as much as I have issues with Trump. What is happening is absolutely unconstitutional. It's evil. It's wrong. It's unlawful. It's
election tampering.
It's election tampering. It's all these things. Okay. Yeah. I am against it. But I also realize we have to face reality. The reality is that in one of these cases, and it is only going to take one, he is going to lose.
I don't think he will.
I do because of the jury pool in DC. They're going to lose. Now, will he win later in appeals? I believe so. That's where I think he's going to lose it. Now, he's going to lose it. I'm almost certain in DC he's going to lose it. They're going to give him his conviction. After you're given your conviction, it is the judge's discretion whether you spend your time of starting the appeals process, whether you do that in jail or at home. The DC judge that is running this thing has done all the January 6th lawsuits and court cases and has given harsher punishments than even Biden's DOJ is saying to do.
This is the guys who were locked up. These are the guys who were locked up with trespassing.
Yeah, for years. No, she is Russia gulag all the way type of person. She will do everything.
Dogs with bones. It is awful.
It is awful. So this is why I said everybody needs to come to the realization. Even I believe Trump, at the end of all of this, is going to become free of all these things. I believe the New York one is going to fall through. It's going to
hurt his presidency run.
Oh, if at any point, so let's just put it to you this way: any of these trials that go on before, if one trial goes before the election, it will single-handedly remove him from election candidacy.
Wow.
Because now he can technically under the Constitution. Well, no,
you're right. It shouldn't be
under the Constitution.
Hold on, Steve. Let's be clear. Hold on. Let's be clear. The fact that you ready for the biggest part? The federal one is the highest and most illegal of all of them.
Yes.
Do you want to know why? Do you know who gets to tell who? So who is the prosecutor in a federal court case?
I have no idea.
The Department of Justice.
DOJ.
The federal DOJ. Guess who's the boss of the federal DOJ?
Merrick Garland.
And who's his employer?
Joe Biden.
There you go. That is literally That is the worst form of election tampering that is on a scale to none other been seen before in history. Not even Nixon. Not even Nixon had this going for him. It is criminal. And guess what? This is where, at the end of this, you want to know what every Republican should know? If they're going to do it, you should too. Don't play fair anymore. Stop playing fair. It's not going to be.
Let's put it this way.
It's not going to be fair. Stop playing fair. Stop.
Number one.
I want you to be honest and truthful. That's me as a God-fearing man. But stop playing Mary Sue.
This is the big thing that Christians and
stop being
Christians and quote-unquote Republicans, because they say the majority of Republicans are Christians, quotes.
Yep.
Okay, what they need to realize is the social construct has been broken for years, and the Democrats are the one that broke it.
Right.
Okay, we are fighting under – Republicans have always been like, we have the terms of engagement. The Constitution outlines the terms of engagement. This is the way we're going to win. We are going to follow. We have our rules of engagement, and we're going to follow them. This is what the Constitution says, and we're going to win. The Democrats are fighting like it never existed. Think of it this way. Back when we were fighting for our independence, the British had the rules of engagement, and we originally started fighting the way they did, and we were getting slaughtered. But then we changed the rules of engagement to what they weren't used to. They weren't able to adapt, and they lost. If we don't adapt, we will lose this country. Now, granted, I've read the final chapter of the book of the Bible. It does get worse before it gets better, but that doesn't mean we lay down and take it. Okay, we need to come to the realization that the only way to keep Trump out of jail legitimately is to put somebody in who will pardon them. Right now, there are only two that I know for a fact would pardon him if they got the seat, if they got into the White House. That's DeSantis and that's Vivek. Everybody else was wishy-washy and of course, Christie was like, keep him in jail. He deserves to be there. What he did was criminal.
Yeah. So then theoretically, we should, if it happens to what's going to happen,
so this is where
we need to put one of them guys basically.
Well, so this is where I go. My position on the whole Trump versus anybody else discussion is as follows: Trump needs to run. Trump needs to run as hard as he can until he can't, or he's literally forced out. If that's the case, then everybody who would vote for Trump needs to vote for DeSantis. You can't go, I'm not voting. You can't be the other way. And this is why I don't agree with him in the same line where if Trump runs as hard as he can and these things break and fall and they don't stick and he doesn't get any of these trials and he walks off because they do fall apart because they are sham cases and it gets exposed and it gets.
I just don't think. I think the jury pool in DC is not going to break it up.
It gets broken up before it even gets the trial. If these things happen, see, if Trump quits now, they win automatically.
Right.
But if he doesn't quit and they break and they get exposed and that's why he has to. He has to just on the simplest point
drop out.
Exposing them all the way through. He has to run it through. If he does get through it and he doesn't get tried and he doesn't get caught in cases and he doesn't get pulled from any logs and he doesn't get pulled from voter rolls, he should run as hard as he can. And if he does, my reason is Trump goes, even though it's a lame duck year, he can set up the next candidate.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's where I go with it. And this is where Trump needs to swallow his ego a bit.
I'm not going to argue with that.
This is where Trump needs to swallow his ego a bit. Stop. Number one, you need to stop going after DeSantis because he never goes against DeSantis in policy. He just calls him names and makes up crap.
Yeah, it sounds shy.
Okay.
But it's Trump.
It's Trump. But he needs to not.
I'm going to come up with a nickname no matter what. I'm sorry.
No. But he needs to knock it off, at least for the front runners. You want to make fun of Christie? Go for it. Pence, go for it. When it comes to Vivek and DeSantis, you need to leave it alone. Let y'all three run on your merits. Go for it. Because if Trump doesn't make it, that's me. If Trump is unable to run because he gets caught in a criminal case, whatever, loses it, and they remove him from the ballots, okay, and everybody's answer that I keep hearing is, we will write him in. If the Secretary of State of an individual state removes him from the ballot, says he's cannot legally be on the ballot, then you can't write him in. It's actually illegal to write him in. So you can't write him in. Okay,
you can write him in, but it won't count.
It won't count for nothing. Right. Like you could have the majority vote, and he could technically have won, but they could go, nope, he was removed, illegal to run it. He cannot be on the ballot. That includes writing in. So that's where he needs to drop
this
off
is-
the ego.
We really need to pray that he can
He
get
needs.
all this
Well, no, he
going.
needs to drop the ego. That way, if it comes down to where he has to step down because they're removing him from ballot, it won't seem wishy-washy if he goes, all right, I'm backing my man DeSantis. I backed him in Florida.
But here's the thing. Honestly, I don't think that would be Trump. I think if Trump, here's the deal. Let's be really real and honest and close this thing off. If Trump does not win, and Trump cannot win, he is not reelectable. He is not going to be able to run in the next.
No, he'll be like 90-some years old.
He's too old. So here's the point. This is his last chance. If he can't
matter
do
what,
it,
no matter
I don't
what.
care. It doesn't matter.
Win, lose, or draw,
If he
it's his
doesn't
last
win,
one.
if he doesn't get elected, if he can't get elected, whatever happens, the Trump era is over. And honestly, it doesn't matter what Trump thinks anymore. And I
No,
like
but
him.
I
like
needs,
him.
I think he needs to back somebody
No,
and openly.
I don't.
So that the MAGA cult, because so many of the MAGA cult right now are refusing to vote if they can't vote for
that's
Trump.
the thing. I think that's why he needs to go away peacefully, and that's why he does, because the MAGA cult will look to reinvigorate the next MAGA guy. And honestly, Trump is the only guy. So there isn't going to be another MAGA guy. You're not going to see another guy come up. Vivek's not MAGA.
No, he's trying to be.
He might try to be, but he's
trying
not.
to be the bishop
so
of the
this is
MAGA
my
cult.
point. You're not going to I like Hirsch saying he's a MAGA guy, but if he were to run for president, he's not going to be able to run as MAGA.
No.
You're not. So
Right.
that's just Trump. Leave it be. Let Trump go. Everybody else needs to figure
Well, that's
it out.
why we said.
All
That's
you
what we
MAGA
said about
cult guys,
saying even when he was running
all
for New
you
Jersey.
MAGA cult guys need to figure it out. Get your grip back on and go. All right, you're looking for another guy who's like him. Keep looking. And guess what? If you are a guy who's like him, then start running. Start campaigning, because you know there's a country out here that is dying for another guy who's
Well,
not political.
My whole big
who
thing with the
doesn't
MAGA
have.
cult is that they got to stop believing that a savior politician is going to save you.
Well, no,
And
that's a whole other point. But again, like I said,
Right.
the point is that everybody needs to wake up. Everybody needs to start figuring out
And seeing
that
seeing the spirit
that
of the age.
you're dealing with a political hemisphere. We understand that, but also there's a biblical time.
Oh, there's
And that biblical time
spiritual
means,
thing going
guess
on
what?
here.
You got to use your senses. You got to use the spirit. You got to use wisdom. You got to do research. You got to spend time. And if you're one of those people who are like, yeah, I really am. I'm really not sure. Guess what? There's this wonderful guy known as God who actually talks to us, and he gives us a little bit of that intel and tells you, hey, guess what? Yeah, I know that guy sounds
And
good.
if you say you're talking to God
But-
and he answers you and you have a D next to your name, you're not talking to God. You're a Satanist. I hate to say it.
All right. That
Anyway.
anyway.
So,
Link tree at the bottom.
Yes.
And
Follow the link tree, guys. We're at the end. Please like, share,
Sorry for going over.
subscribe. Yeah, we went over, but this is. I mean, we did have a bit of fun in the beginning. But
waiting all show to do that to you. But moving on.
But anyway, follow the link tree in bio. That's how you can get all the stuff that has to do with me or even the individual podcast. Talk to us, answer questions. Also, for this guy, the church's website is on there for streams of Life Fellowship. You can talk to him. If you happen to be in South Jersey on a Sunday Sunday morning,
Yes.
get the address there in South Jersey, and you can come visit us, or you can
We'll
log
love
in
on you.
online and listen to previous. I know I'm not supposed to say old no more, but
Thank you.
previous sermons. You can do that as well. Huh?
And as always, guys,
preach sermons.
and as always, guys, if you have questions, if you have
Prayers.
any prayer requests, comments, we like to hear them. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Because, yeah, look, man, we might be small, but we get bigger if you guys do those things for us. So we appreciate it.
And in 2 weeks, our topic, it's going to be a back to school episode. I am not going to be, we will all be here, but I will not be.
Wonderful time.
I will not be.
Physically.
We will not physically be in the same bubble on the screen. Okay,
You'll be in a little screen.
I'll be in a smaller screen, not that small. We will be in. I will be remote.
I'll make sure it's that small.
I will be remote.
I'll make sure your
because
volume's
my car
down
had-
too.
Picture in picture.
And make sure we can mute them whenever we want. Click,
Nah,
click,
that
click,
ain't right.
click.
I do have options.
Yeah, I know, but that ain't right. I wouldn't do it to you guys. Anyway, I will be remote because my car is going in the shop and I won't be able to get here to where we normally do it.
Yep.
Because I live too far away as is.
At the corner of church and state.
Yeah. So we thank you for joining us at the corner of church and state where there is no separation. I hope you guys have a good one. We've enjoyed it. And I hope that you have a safe and wonderful 2 weeks till we see you again.
And happy Labor Day, everybody.
Yes. Happy Labor Day and peace.
Good night.
help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or labor rules, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America.